Hey everybody, so I just got the Zhiyun Crane 3S and I also just got the Canon C300 Mark III. And people have been asking, number one, will the Crane 3S fly the C300 Mark III? And also, will it fly it with the Canon CNE 18-80 servo lens? If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's this behemoth right here. So we did a test. I used a Zacuto quick release plate to attach it to the crane. I took off the side handle and I put the monitor mounted to the top of the. There's a Zacuto top plate that's made for the C500 Mark II and the C300 Mark III, and it has these great anti-twist. There's two of them. Two anti-twist quarter 20 threads. That way I could put the monitor with the stock unit and just kind of fold it on top of it. And then I attached the 18-80 and it balanced it. I did have to move the motor strength to the maximum, which is ultra, and it handled it pretty well. There was a couple minor shakes. I will say that whenever I flew this same gimbal, the same camera on the gimbal with the Canon 16-35 f4, the motor strength only had to be on medium low. So I had to knock it up like four notches to the maximum strength. But I think that has less to do with the weight and more with how long it is. So I measured it out and it's 16 and a half inches from the very tip of the lens to the very back of the BPA 60. So when I did it, I have the bigger quick release. I didn't mount this piece, but so do this right here for you real quick. So this lovely Zacuto has this quick release, and from this part to this part is 16 and a half inches. And so with that, obviously the camera is going to, or the crane is going to struggle to support, that much weight on either end. But if you check out some of this footage, and I'm gonna watch it with you, and then we'll play back and just kind of see how it goes. It does a pretty good job. The unit itself, the C300 with the quick release plates and the monitor mounted on top, was 9.9 pounds. So it's well under the, was it 15 or 16 pound payload that it claims to have. But like I said, I had to go to Ultra, I think solely because of how wide it was, or the length. So if you watch this first clip, it's just my wife walking out front. It seems okay. There's a couple micro jitters, and we're gonna go back real quick and let's watch it again. So we watch it. There's a little bit of shake in there, and that can be fixed in post. And I'll show you guys after we watch the next couple of clips what warp stabilizer can do. But I was also using the 18-80 has a wonderful internal stabilization. So that was turned on. The C300 Mark III has built-in IBIS. That was not on for this test, so I wanted to see how it would work with just lens stabilization. Here my wife is, but here's just the top shot. It's really usable. There's a little micro vibration in there, but it wasn't that bad. And if we watch that again, you might see it right about there. And so the last shot is going to be just my production van. I wanted to shoot all this at 23.976 as opposed to slow-mo, because we all know what slow-mo will do on a gimbal. It's going to, that shake is going to disappear. And we can shoot in 60 frames per second or 120 all day long, but we really want to see, can this gimbal really smooth out these shots? And yes, I balanced it correctly. Every point of access was done to a T. So looking at this next shot of the van, this is where it kind of struggles. So going from right to left, there's a bit of shake. It's not terrible, but if you're not shooting in slow motion, it's obviously going to be there. But I'd still say for the most part, it's fairly usable. I then wanted to see, what would happen if we dropped warp stabilizer on these clips? Would it fix it? If so, how much? Did anything weird happen to the footage? So if we go back to the shot of her feet walking, that is totally usable. That is, easy. Just throw it on the timeline, drop a quick warp stabilizer on it, and you're good to go. And then let's go to the top of the shot of her upper body, and that shake we saw before is totally gone, and I'd be happy to use that clip. So far, using this camera on the 3S with no slow motion, I think it's doing a pretty solid job, especially for the size, like the sheer size of this camera, and then having the long lens, and then the gimbal only costing $650, because I literally bought the $750 version, the one that came with the smart handle. Then I paid an extra $50 or however much it is for the dumb handle that Zhiyun makes. Put it on the bottom for extra stabilization, because there's no way in the world to operate this gimbal without two handles, unless you're using like something like a ring and maybe a ready rig or an easy rig. But going back to the shot that I liked the least, I found that this gimbal did a lot of the left to right movements is where it actually introduced the most shake. It wasn't going straight, it wasn't underslung mode. It was really either like the orbiting, the panning of it. So when I dropped warp stabilizer on that van clip, as you see here, it really cleaned it up. It does this weird kind of up and down motion for a bit, but you can use the majority of that clip. And like I said, if you were to have shot any of this footage in 60 frames per second or higher, all that shake would have gone away. You would have not had to have dropped warp stabilizer on any of this footage, and it would have looked awesome. So at the end of the day, yes, the Zhiyun Crane 3S can fly the C300 Mark III with the CNE 18-80 t4.5 lens on it, and you don't need the extra battery. There's a rumor going around that you need like the extra battery power pack for it to handle the payloads. You don't. When you first get it, just update the firmware. And then when you first get the 3S out of the box, it's set on Ultra, which will make your camera shake like crazy if you have anything other than this massive setup on it. So make sure whenever you fire your 3S up, quickly go to the motor strength, take it down to medium low, or even lower, and start from there and work your way up. You might notice a little bit of vibration. Keep bumping up the motor strength until it goes away, and you guys are going to be rocking. You'll love this gimbal. And so thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me ramble, and you guys have a good night.